Is it recording?
Recording in progress.
There you go. Okay. 9 a.m. Proof of posting, please.
The agenda was posted on Thursday, October 31st, 2024 at 4:55 PM, and a supplemental agenda was posted on Friday, November 1st, 2024 at 2:10 PM.
Thank you. Of course, today is November the 5th, 2024, Election Day. Best thing about Election Day is tomorrow it's over.
Yes.
And Trump will quit sending me text messages. All right.
I kind of felt like I've gotten to know JD Vance.
I know it. Speed down. Okay, this time, let's stand briefly for a moment of silence, and then we'll have a pledge to the flags.
Please join in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Texas pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, this time, if there's any members of the audience that want to speak to the court on business matters, please do so at this time. Seeing none, going to items D under proclamations and resolutions, we do not have anything this week. Went to the consent agenda. Recommended pulls are E3B, HR matter for Constable Precinct 1, and E7 under the burn ban. Is there any other recommended pulls? If there's no other recommended pulls, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of those pulls previously mentioned?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. Okay, got several guests here, or presentations that we'll have at the front. Is Amy Lowry on? Don't see Amy yet.
I am, Judge.
Okay,
I am.
Amy. All right, thank
Good
you.
morning.
Let's go to items K2. This is regarding the Texas Veterans Commission Fund for Veterans Assistance and authorization of the 2025-2026 Veterans Treatment Court Grant Application. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. For your review, I have the submission of the fiscal year 2025-26 12-month grant request to the Texas Veterans Commission that would begin on July 1st, 2025 in the amount of $120,000 to benefit the Veterans Treatment Court active duty and honorably discharged veterans in our program. The funds will provide reimbursement for items such as substance use disorder detection and treatment services, including intensive residential treatment, withdrawal management, and intensive outpatient treatment, and financial assistance for transportation. Requesting approval for submission of this grant request.
Okay, any questions before we consider it? All right, what's the pleasure of the court?
Move to approve the grant application.
Second.
Motion second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. All right, next I'd like to go to items B1 and B2. We have Randy Riggs and Scott Word here. This under B1's authorization of agreement with Linebarger, Grogan, Blair, and Sampson LLP under the registration refusal program service. And then under B2 is authorization of the interlocal agreement with related resolution with Texas Department of Motor Vehicles. Okay, morning.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Mr. Riggs is on his way. I don't know if you want to wait for him, but
No, go ahead.
he's on his way. He running late because he went to vote this morning.
Didn't we have 2 weeks to do that?
You know what he tells you about your taxes always. Well, technically.
That's
they're
right.
late.
He's getting your
I'll
tax,
remind him,
he's getting your
technically,
tax
you voted
statements
late.
out.
That's-
So this is a submission of a contract with Linebarger, Goggin, Blair, and Sampson to do the scofflaw program. And what that is essentially just another tool that we have to help us in the collection of the delinquent fines and fees, which is a contract we renewed here with y'all a couple of months ago. There is no additional fee for this service, but we work in conjunction with the tax office. When a taxpayer comes to the tax office to register their vehicle, if there's an outstanding fine, delinquent fine with one of the JP courts here in McLennan County, then Mr. Riggs' system is notified and flagged, and the registration is refused until that individual goes down to the JP court and takes care of their delinquent fine and fee. I believe also there's a authorization of the interlocal agreement, related resolution with the DMV. That's something Mr. Riggs and his office need in order to put the whole program into place.
Okay.
So I'm happy to answer any questions. There is no additional fee. I want to make that clear. This is just another tool that we have that we can put in place in conjunction with Mr. Riggs and help us execute that contract, collecting the delinquent fines and fees of the JP courts.
Yeah, so it doesn't drive additional revenue through tax office, but it does through the courts.
That's correct.
Yeah, got you. All right, any questions? All right. Entertain a motion to,
Can we do this in a motion to approve both of these?
yes, sir, just state both.
Okay, my motion would be to approve the agreement with Linebarger, Goggin, Blair, and Sampson, and also to approve the agreement and resolution with the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles regarding items B1 and B2.
B1 and B2 under the supplemental agenda.
Yes, sir, under supplemental agenda.
All right, I'll second that. Any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Pass. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, Scott.
We'll see you soon.
All right, I'd like to, I want to jump right quick to Chip Sigmund's item on I-1H. I don't think it'll take long, and then we'll get you guys. All right, Chip, good morning.
Morning, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Actually, today what we have is our 14 program budgets, the final adjustments for fiscal year '24. The budgets are brought forth for recording purposes so that I can then go to the Board of Judges for statute and have those approved.
All right. Any questions anyone would have?
Yes, sir.
All right, what's the pleasure of the court?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion second to approve. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those pass. Thanks, Chip.
Thank you.
All right, now, let's go to item H6. This is update regarding the McLennan County Downtown Jail Remodel Project. We have Kevin Carr and John Bennett with John W. Irvin Construction Company here.
Would you like us to plug in?
Do I need to plug in to present, or do they
Uh,
automatically?
Dustin, do you know,
We did send it over to IT, so IT, if y'all can display, let us know, please.
okay, we got it.
Like they got it?
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
So maybe if we could flip to page 2, please. Yep, perfect. So just kind of a little background, and we'll kind of go through some of this quickly. So just so if everybody recalls, this is the physical area of work that we're talking about relative to the renovation of the old downtown jail. We've also have made arrangements through the county, kind of catty corner to the project on the other side of Fifth Street to use that area as a project laydown and staging yard. So we appreciate all the work the county's done. It's probably going to be one of the nicest staging and laydown yards we've ever had the opportunity to use, so we appreciate that. If you can go ahead to flip to the next page. So just a recap of the overall project as it's currently envisioned. So kind of quickly, and I'll go through the colors on the map. So site plan that you're looking at, so the green area is kind of the existing alleyway, if you will, between the old, the existing courthouse and the jail and the annex building. So the envision for that area, or the vision for that area is basically all that paving is going to get removed out of there. Cars are going to get out of that area. That area then will be, we'll have to put in new utility services down that. We have a main electrical refeed that has to come all the way down the alley across Fifth Street, and then there'll be a remote generator yard and transformer yard where permanent power is actually going to come from Encore into this facility. So there'll be a little bit of work across the street at the Records Building there along Fifth Street. And then towards the end of the project, that area becomes basically a pedestrian plaza, if you will, combination of reuse of existing pavers, new pavers, seating areas. And then at Fifth Street and Sixth Street, that area will be protected but still accessible. It'll have removable bollards or what's planned there. So if emergency vehicles do have to gain access to that area, they'll be able to. A couple other components to the project, some of the new color boxes. So the existing jail is in the central area. So to accommodate the program of the project, you can kind of see the small light blue box on the courthouse side. That's a new one-story building element that is getting constructed to expand the footprint of the first floor lobby space. So that becomes the area that's needed to provide kind of the secure check-in, just like you would have here at the existing courthouse. The purple L-shaped box on the Columbus Avenue side is a 5-story new building element. It's a combination of concrete and structural steel. That will basically create the lobby expansion, and each of the floors needed to house new public elevators, new public restrooms, public egress stair required by code so we can safely get people out of the building in an emergency situation, and a few building services type rooms. The main courthouse, the main judicial center itself, 5 stories. There'll be 2 new courtrooms constructed on level 2 and 2 additional courtrooms constructed on level 4. The little L-shaped small box that you're seeing on the Fifth Street side of the existing jail is a new, again, it's a 5-story building element out of structural steel and concrete. That will provide for a new secure entrance for the judges. It will also provide a new elevator for judges and staff to use kind of behind the scenes to allow them to access their respective floors, as well as it gives a vertical way to stack new electrical rooms and new IT rooms to feed the project. The orange box that you're looking at is kind of a redo of the existing parking area and kind of the slope drive that takes you into the Sally Port in the basement. That will be maintained, it will all be upgraded. And then there'll be some combination of security fencing and things along Columbus Avenue to kind of secure that area kind of from the public right-of-way, if that makes sense. So those are kind of the big picture elements. And the last piece, which actually is going to be constructed as phase 2 of this project, after the main work on the Judicial Center project is constructed, is the light blue box there at the existing annex building. So it's currently being planned for the 3rd floor of the annex building to house an additional courtroom in one half of that floor. That entire floor basically is being renovated completely. And then the other half of that floor would be renovated into new office space for the district attorney's office. So those are kind of the big picture pieces of the project. So next slide, please.
I have a real quick question that came up on the alleyway. There's nothing historic about those bricks or anything like that? Is there,
Not that we're aware of,
Exactly, that crossed my mind just the other day.
but we
so
do,
there's,
yeah.
but I think so there is a perception that is historic.
So, yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
so not as far as on.
But I mean,
the
it's been dug
commission-
up so many times.
As far as the commission is the historical certification, it is not historic, but it is our goal to reuse as many of those bricks as we can to incorporate that into the new design.
All right,
We don't want to lose that element.
okay.
So the other thing that the design team is doing and will do is they've engaged the historical commission because because the courthouse property itself is designated as a historical site. The improvements that we make in that zone, the green zone, will have to kind of be blessed by them so that they're in keeping with the historical architecture of the courthouse. So
Great.
that's happening as well.
Great.
So this slide here, I think this is back in, so where the design team is at on this project is, so when we came, we've been working with them all throughout the year. So this is a slide that we presented back in March to the court. So the way the design team works, there's kind of three distinct phases. There's a schematic design process, was just as their initial planning of the project. Then it turns into design development, where they kind of start to develop actual floor plans, meet with all the different user groups, get input, talk about space planning, really talk about the mechanical, electrical, plumbing systems that go into the project. That's kind of the second phase of design, and then the last phase is actual construction documents to produce the plans and specifications so the facility can be constructed. We've gone from schematic design, when I presented this budget range, when we had about 6 floor plans, concepts of what the design team wanted to do on the exterior of the building, and concepts of the different mechanical, electrical, plumbing systems. We thought, for the entire scope that I talked about on the prior page, this project would fall, total project, including the work at the annex, somewhere between $47.8 and $59.8 million. That was kind of the big picture range that we created at that time at schematic design. So over the spring, summer, and part of this fall, the design team actually completed their design development documents, which is full-blown plans, specifications, design of the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing systems. And we've gone back and forth with them, refining that, working through processes. They've had various consultants out here going through the facility, basically going through existing conditions, making sure those are accommodated in the design. And now we've come back with what we call our design development estimate based upon that second stage of design. So if you'll flip the page. Yep, thank you. So as the project advanced, and now that we have this full design development document in front of us this past summer and fall, we worked on a full-blown design development estimate where we could narrow down and focus on what the job really, what we think it's going to take from a cost standpoint. So where we're at right now, we think all in, the entire scope of the project is sitting at about $58.8 million as far as a total expected project cost. And this is our guesstimate of what we think the cost will come in once the design is complete and we actually go bid the physical work. So I talked about 2 phases. So the way this project's going to have to be constructed is phase 1, which is everything you saw on the project slide, but excluding the work on the 3rd floor annex. From a phasing standpoint, that can't be constructed until the spaces in the Judicial Center project is complete to allow various departments to move into the new spaces. Then that will free up the ability to do that phase 2 work after the Judicial Center is complete. So where we think the project budget sits today on the Judicial Center, we're somewhere 51 million to just under, to about 53.9 million is where we feel that range has been narrowed down now that we got a lot more information. We also think that then phase 2 of that project would come in somewhere between $4.6 million and $4.9 million for that second phase of the work to do all the renovation work currently envisioned for the 3rd floor annex. So big picture, that's where we sent. We're still carrying pretty healthy contingency in this estimate. We got about a $1.6 million construction or CMAR contingency within those numbers, and an additional $1.6 million of design contingency, basically. So as the design team really finalizes the last phase of their process, which is the production of the construction documents and specs, gives them some ability to incorporate design elements that maybe weren't fully thought through, or we didn't fully think through what it was going to actually take, just so that we can make sure that we're hitting our cost targets. So that's kind of where we think from a big picture standpoint the project stands. From a schedule standpoint, we've talked about this in the past, where we think the Judicial Center project work, which is everything again except for the annex, we think that's a 24-month construction effort. And then we think the level 3 annex following that is probably about an 8-month constructive effort to construct those spaces. So that's where we envision this project to fall from a schedule and kind of a budget standpoint right now. If you'll flip to the next slide, a couple things that have been found out as the design has advanced that were different, that we didn't envision or didn't realize when the project was in that early stage, when all we had was a couple plan sheets, design concepts from the design team, but they hadn't fully vetted the design and hadn't completed their user group meetings, hadn't completed their analysis and review of the existing conditions in the facility. So one of the biggest things that we found out once the design team went through the programming phase and met with all the user groups, the existing square footage of the jail was just a little bit short of the square footage needed to accommodate the new courtrooms, plus all the associated offices and the functional spaces needed. And so we realized that the amount of lobby area and public space needed to increase. And so we had to increase, if you remember, the purple L-shaped box on Columbus, which basically is the new 5-story building element that housed the public elevators, lobbies, public restrooms, public lobby space. That had to increase in size so that some of the existing square footage could be allocated to the program spaces of the courtroom, the desired seating levels within the courtroom, and then the associated judge's office, support offices, and all those support spaces. So what did that mean to our budget? Well, there's about an additional just shy of 8,600 square feet. If you put that in a dollar perspective, it's about an additional $4.28 million. Any of these elements that I'm talking about are included within our current estimate, so these aren't in addition to the previous numbers that I was showing. One of the other things that we found, that the design team found out, was based on the reuse going from a jail to this new judicial center, some of the floor loading changed from what the floor loading was on the various floors from when it was a jail to what it's going to become. And so they realized that we're going to have to go do what they call the structural fiber reinforced polymer wraps on the underside of select structural beams. Basically what those fiber wraps do basically is increase the load carrying capacity of your existing structural beams. And so it's only at select locations just to pick up and increase the floor loading that's needed for the current design. So what does that mean from a dollar standpoint? Well, it's about $750,000 worth of work that we just didn't know about. We didn't envision it when we did our original cost model that we showed y'all back in March. One of the other things that was found out during design, and if you walk around the building on the Columbus Avenue side, you'll see there's some big sections of exterior brick that have been removed. So at the time the jail was constructed, it just wasn't standard practice at that point. So there's a brick exterior wall that the public sees. There's an air cavity to create an airspace. And then there's a backup CMU block wall, basically, which is a structural wall. It's actually a structural wall that helped carry the structural floor loads that make up that exterior cavity wall. Well, there is no waterproofing or fluid applied air and water barriers in that cavity wall, which is what's done constructively nowadays to prevent water migration and water infiltration into the facility. So based on that, we've gone through a big exercise with the design team. What is it? So basically what I'm saying is we're gonna have to take off the exterior brick, which we're demoing out the old jail windows anyway. We're already taking out a fair portion of that exterior envelope to get out the old jail windows, put in the new modern windows that'll be designed for the courtroom or the judicial center. And then we have to properly waterproof that existing block walls, and then we can reconstruct the exterior envelope. And where we've settled, I think where the design team, they're finishing up their designs right now on that exterior envelope, where I think we'll go back with is a combination of brick, probably at the first level. And then above the first level, we'll use, they're looking at a combination of limestone veneer, metal panels, and then aluminum and glass for the windows. So I think it's going to be it'll create a little bit of contrast so that the judicial center has a slightly different, it's going to complement the look of the complex, if you will, but it'll have a slightly different look than the annex and the existing courthouse. So it's going to be its own distinct element once their exterior envelope design is kind of complete. But what does that mean from a budget standpoint? We're talking about budget. So basically, by the removal of the brick, the application of the waterproofing, the reinstallation of a new veneer system, we're looking at about $1.9 million that was added to the overall original cost model versus where the cost model sits today. A couple other things that we found out. When we originally did our initial budgeting, there was areas within the footprint of the existing jail we really didn't think we're going to have to touch. So there's square footage and space that we're physically going in and having to actually renovate that we weren't sure about and we didn't know. So we were short about a little over 3,000 square feet of physical renovation work that we would have to do. So there's about $1.6 million in additional cost based on having to renovate a little bit more square footage than was originally envisioned and was included in some of our concepts. A couple other last major cost items. So when we did our original budgeting, we were thinking that the courtroom benches and public seating was a kind of a furniture item, a bought item, not a constructed item. Right now, based on the millwork design and the design of the courtrooms, we've got all the millwork that's currently being envisioned for the courtroom spaces, as well as we're picking up all the benches and seating basically there in the courtroom so that the wood species match, the veneers match, the stains match, so that entire courtroom has a cohesive look with all the same millwork materials. So from a cost standpoint, it's just a little under $90,000 worth of additional work that we thought was furniture in the beginning, and now we've learned it's actually going to be built-in elements within the courtroom space. And then the last major element that the design team found out when the civil engineer was working with the city is, so we have to provide upgraded domestic water services and fire protection water services to feed the facility. And so the water line that exists, there is not currently a looped water line condition in Columbus Avenue, kind of connecting the city's infrastructure from 5th Street to 6th Street. So basically, I think where we've landed, and the design team's still finalizing the details with the city, but we're going to have to construct an additional 12-inch water line that basically connects to an existing water line in 6th Street. We come all the way down Columbus and then connect over in 5th Street, and then we'll be able to tap off that water line to feed our new fire protection water and domestic water. So what does that mean from a cost standpoint? There's about $350,000 of infrastructure work. We originally envisioned that we would just be able to tap off the existing water lines and refeed the facility from a fire water and a domestic water, but like I said, this is what was found out during the design process. So all in, that kind of added up to just a hair over $9 million of additional cost items that we didn't really envision. So if you remember our original cost range on the project, we were 47.8 to 59.8. With the incorporation of all these additional elements into our budget, that's how we arrived on a cost range now of about 55.9 to 58.8, basically all in for both phases of the project. So basically, we were able to absorb all this work in our original cost model. It's just caused, now that we've got defined elements for all this, it's just caused us to trend towards the upper limit of what our original cost range was envisioned. So those are the things that that we're looking at and and working on with the design team right now as they incorporate it into their documents. So really next steps on the project. So we do have, the design team is already into the third phase of the design process, the production of the construction documents and specs that will allow us to go out to the community and get actual hard bid costs on the project. They've only issued a portion of those documents. The work's going to be bid in 2 packages. They've issued the first package of construction documents. Basically, it's for all of the, there's a little bit of remaining miscellaneous demolition that has to be done. All of the new concrete work, the structural work for the facility, all of the new structural steel work for all of those new building elements and existing building elements that we have to construct, all of the mechanical systems, all of the electrical systems, all of the plumbing systems, and all the vertical conveyance systems, i.e. the new elevator systems that are going in the facility. Those construction documents are produced and they're actually out for bid right now. We are taking bids on November 21st, and then we'll return to the court in early December at some point to make a recommendations for and request approval to actually proceed with actual work based on an actual defined cost at that time. And then next steps for the design team, so they are working to finish the construction documents to issue that final bid package, which will be the balance of the work. It'll be the roofing, the windows, the doors, the courtroom finishes, all the floor finishes, interior ceilings, walls. All of that will be in that final bid package. They're working to finish their construction documents between now and the end of January. And then we will go out to bid for to the community for all of that final work sometime in February. And then we expect to be back at the court sometime in March, April to do the process again. Once we have defined costs, we'll come back to the court and ask approvals to proceed and be given authorization to proceed with the balance of the work based on that defined cost that we'll have at that time. So I think those are the big picture elements. Again, like I said, we envision this, if everything works out and we're able to return to the court and get authorization with that first package and approval on that first defined cost elements for the early work, we hope that we'll be out there in January. There is a few weeks of make-safe work where we have to do to get the facility properly lit up with lighting. We have to make the electrical safe. There's areas where the old jail cells were taken out where we've got fall protection issues where we need to put up a bunch of safety rails and things to make the facility safe so people can go to work safely. And then we would envision really that 2-year period of the construction duration kicking off about the 1st of February if everything tracks on our currently envisioned schedule. And I think with that, also part of that first work package, we're working with the county on the funding side of it. I believe there's federal ARPA funds involved that are available for the project
We'll get
itself.
to that in a second.
Okay.
On the finance side.
Okay.
One thing that from the start of this discussion, from the idea all the way till now, there's one consideration was completely tearing down the old jail and starting from ground up, and then the other would be going out to a different location, which changing locations would add additional cost, but I know we have, and you have too, looked at other facilities being built around the state. And so some folks have made the statement, well, it would be cheaper to go out here if you had a piece of land. That's one. And two, start from ground up and from that standpoint. And then, of course, the other would be, so can you speak to that, the relative cost of what this is compared to if we went out?
Yeah, I think if you attempted to construct, and I'm just using the size of the current project, so the total project right now, including the third floor annex, is just a hair over 100,000 square feet of space.
Yeah.
I believe if you'd try to go construct this facility either on the same property or remotely on a new piece of property, You're probably in the tune at 100,000 square feet. I think you're looking at a $75 million plus project. I think new courthouse construction, judicial center construction, on the stuff that we've researched and looked at and budgeted, you're probably in the $600 to $800 a square foot range for courthouse construction is what it's going for nowadays, just based on this being constructed as a significant county facility that would have an expected 50-year lifespan. So I think we looked at a few courthouses. I think there's a new one going up in the Tyler area that's a 250,000 square foot. So, over double the size, but I believe their project cost, I think that work just kicked off. If I remember correctly, they were about $163 million for that brand-new facility. And so I think, obviously, I think what the county is doing here, obviously, is less costly than I think trying to construct this facility brand new.
Well, and then there's a cost of splitting security out, have security headquartered in two different places, which would, that cost keeps on going.
Yeah.
Your operation costs would be far greater.
Yeah, and I'm just speaking to the actual construction costs. I think there's a huge benefit. So the biggest cost savings on this particular site is the actual concrete superstructure that you have. We're not having to pay for that brand-new superstructure. You already have it. We're just spending a little bit of money to upgrade it and modify it. I also think proximity and location, because I'm not talking about the staffing costs. You've already got built-in infrastructure from your security and all the services that are on the complex that exist today that I think are just being, instead of having to be replicated or doubled, you're basically expanding those services to the new facility. So I think there's a huge amount of benefit in that. And I just think just the general, I think it's good stewards of the facility of just, let's renovate a facility that the county already has. It's already a county facility, so I just think there's a lot of merit for that.
And then one other thing I should have qualified or stated right at first is, y'all have met with the members of the Commissioners Court prior to this meeting, and so it's not like we're just seeing this, so it's what we've been working on and all, but that, I'd open up any questions anyone would have regarding this.
The bid package that's out right now,
Yes, sir.
is it of a large enough scope so that when it comes in, it will give you a accurate barometer reading of where you think the total cost is going to be?
It will, because it includes a lot of your bigger cost elements normally on projects are your mechanical, electrical, and plumbing systems. So that's included in this package. It's also got the additional new structural work and concrete work. So we'll have a huge, those are your major packages that really build up or that make up the bulk of your
Drive the
typical
cost.
costs on a project.
So you'll have, of course, no one can say 100% either way until everything's bid, but it'll give you an idea of, hey, we were in the ballpark on where we
Yeah, we
estimated the total cost would be.
yes, sir. We'll have a good barometer and we'll have a good ability to validate against our current updated cost model relative to where those packages are falling. Yes, sir.
Good.
Other questions? Okay,
Appreciate y'all.
thank you very much. And Francis, if you could, we can go over
Yes, sir.
where we are with our financing on this project. It started several years ago.
So I have pulled some rounded numbers just to give us an idea of where we are right now. Hope everyone can see that. And so I'm just going to walk through each of these pieces and just let you know what they are, why they're there, and then how they may change going forward. So first, of course, 401, that is our permanent improvement fund funded by a portion of our M&O portion of the tax rate. And so as you probably remember, due to using ARPA funding in this prior year to cover county operating expenditures, we were able to free up some budget funds, not make any increases to the tax rate, but utilize about $9 million to cover permanent improvement cost out of 401 specifically for this project. So we have that there in Fund 401. Under ARPA, Currently, the amount we have allocated is that 3.1 million. So of course, that's subject to change as other projects, costs start coming together more. But that is the amount right now we have allocated in ARPA specifically for the HVAC bid package. Then the next three lines for 21, 22, 23. So those are your 2021, 2022, and 2023 bond issuances. Those amounts, the 3.5, 16.5, and 20 million, those are the unallocated at this point in time funds within each of those pieces. So, each court agenda, as you approve projects, that, those funds will change, road projects that may be added over the next couple of years, and of course, will recurring interest every month as well, and then that adds up quickly. And so, those are subject to change, but that gives us a good idea of what we have currently, that we could say as of today, that's what we have sitting there that could be utilized for this project. So you're right over 52 million. And so of course, we'll move into discussions for future bond issuances
Right.
in the near future.
Happen fairly quickly, and
Yes.
also, most of these bonds are set, we actually hit it in a good rate environment where the rate's pretty low, and the interest we've been earning is carrying cost of this debt is almost nothing, if not.
Correct.
We might have made a little money, which is a
Yes.
arbitrage issue, but we handle that separately.
Yes, sir.
Haven't we structured this to where we got to go out for an additional bond, but our INS rate should not fluctuate a whole lot at all, correct?
Well, I think our INS rate will drop
Actually go
next
down.
year, which will give room to service more debt
Okay.
without changing the rate much, so,
It's just exciting to be able to see the roads, the buildings,
Yeah.
and the INS rate
yeah, that's
pretty
right.
level.
Yeah.
That's-
And I think that relative, the $60 million that this is gonna cost is, man, to me, like Kevin said, it's a good investment and back there and make that look better and the alley look better and things like that. And then going forward, we could focus on, really big road projects that we're not going to saddle ourselves with a large, burden of building a new facility. We can really focus on getting our roads where they need to be for a county our size and the amount of growth that we're going to have going forward in the future.
Good point.
Yeah, and I look at this was not a discretionary project. Our courts are overflowing. By building a new facility, we're able to run our judicial process more efficiently as the plan, along with software updates on our jury calls and those kind of things, but also the security, to have infrastructure where security can utilize it to its best ability to get folks coming out of the McLennan County Jail down here or other places and into the courtroom safely, not mixed with different parts of our community, so a lot of benefit to it. And this facility will be here many years to come, so. All right, anything else to come before the court on this item? Thank y'all very much.
Thank y'all.
We'll see you next month.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the report for recording purposes?
Second.
Have a motion second, any discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, pass. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, I'd like to go to, back on the two pulled agenda items pulled from the consent agenda were E3B, HR matter for Constable Precinct 1. Dustin, what do you have on that? Donna, gonna speak to it?
we can call on Anna for it. I know it's just filling a part-time deputy constable position, but Anna, did you want to cover it?
Yes, I can do that. It is a request to appoint and hire a part-time deputy constable. It's position 852, and the hire is Dennis Westerman. They did apply, and the posting did meet the posting requirements per policy, and then the constable's office confirmed that the applicant did meet the TCOL standards. And so we do recommend the hire for approval effective tomorrow, November 6th.
All right, any questions? All right, and this is, this position is not because they're taking on additional responsibility, it's to maintain what they're doing now, is that correct?
That's right. It's not a new position. They're just hiring into the existing part-time position, which they have a few employees in, and they do have the budget for it.
Okay, all right. What's the pleasure?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made, second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, pass.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the other one is E7 under the burn ban, and we got a message from emergency management this morning. Although we had a little rain, it was variable across the county. We're still probably in a drought mode, but Dustin, what was your recommendation on how we handle this? Because we could get more rain the rest of this week. It could change things.
Yes, sir. So we're currently under the burn ban, and the way that order is worded, you have the authority to lift that. And so I think just in consultation with emergency management, if additional rain comes in, you have the ability to be able to lift the burn ban at that time.
Okay, any thoughts from the court? And of course, I wouldn't lift it without emergency management's recommendation.
If, and certainly I think we need to seriously consider lifting it at least for a window, perhaps, but how would that work if you lifted it, Judge, and then we determined it needed to go back? Would that have to be another court action, or could you put the burn back?
I think it'd have to be a court action.
Okay.
That's right, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and
I could support lifting it at least for a window, I think, but leaving it up to the judge to make that decision, as Dustin has mentioned. So.
Okay.
And hopefully the weekends with rain, so hopefully by the weekend,
Yeah.
we're able to.
Yeah, there's, multiple factors. I think the number's at 600 or something like that. Reagan, do you know what they were?
So that's the numbers as of this morning with last night's rain, there's still 600?
Dustin, is that the way you read Ryan Durker's?
Let me look at it really quick, Judge. I think he was still waiting on those to come in this morning. So before the rain, the index was over 700. He thinks it's going to drop it to around 600. We don't have those official numbers in yet.
Oh, okay. Okay, so the 600 is an estimate based on, but it does include last night's rain.
That would, yes, with that rain, that would drop it to the 600. Yes, sir.
So then we need a motion to allow the judge?
So I already have that authority, I think, Dustin, is that right?
Right. So I
We don't
think
need
just
to do anything, but I will be feel free to.
Just understanding that you.
Yeah, the thing that emergency management worries about, and they're kind of relating information they have with volunteer fire departments, that pulling it on and off gets confusing. And then, someone thinks that it's burn ban's off and they burn, and somebody calls SO to come out there, then, it's so you kind of want it to be, when it comes off, you think it's going to stay off for a little while. They had a great opportunity to do a lot of burning this summer that they normally wouldn't have had. So I know people are asking, but I don't know if anybody's in a jam on it. But,
I think we do a good job, I would say, of communicating it. I think there's signage. A lot of the cities go along with us, and those are all posted. So I think the information is out there for people that want to know.
Yeah, if they want, if
Based on the
they,
number of phone calls we get, I'd say that definitely is information.
they call our office all the time, whether it's on or off.
Right.
And it's,
Right.
so anyhow, so we don't need, no action needed, I believe. Is that correct, Dustin?
That's correct. Yes, sir. The existing order has that, that language in it, so.
Okay.
And if any member of the court has any opinion, especially strong opinions, I would like to hear them. All right. With that, Dustin, will you pick up the agenda from here?
Yes, sir. And Judge, we do need to go back to item D, proclamations, resolutions. We do have one that needs to be ratified. It's D1. It's a ratification of proclamation recognizing October 24th, 2024 as Dr. Pepper Museum.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I missed that. Okay. As Dustin said, recognize October 24th to 2024 is Dr. Pepper Museum Day, which they have an event.
I just realized it's 10-2-4.
Yeah, 1024.
Yeah.
I was there, and I read the proclamation.
Thank you.
And as a child growing up, weaned off the bottle with Dr. Pepper. It was
What age was it?
yeah, pretty young. You know, my mother, she still probably drinks 3 or 4 Dr. Peppers a day.
Really?
Yep. So it was nice, and then honoring Jim Turner,
Jim Turner, yeah.
who has done a lot for Waco, and obviously had the Dr. Pepper and was vital in getting the Dr. Pepper Museum started. So it was a nice event. Mac Rhodes introduced Jim Turner, so it was really nice.
Appreciate you covering for me
bet.
today.
Bet. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Far
Or
worse
that-
assignment, so.
Yeah.
All right,
Second that.
all right, have a motion second, any other discussion? No
One more discussion. I drank a Diet Dr. Pepper that.
Okay, good.
And I tried to get them to bring the blue can back, but they were like, no, that was terrible. So,
Should have tore up the resolution.
yeah. It was fun.
Okay. All right, we have motion second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass.
Moving down to item F, bids, RFPs, RFQs. F1's authorization of proposal with M&E Consultants, site visit, drone, and topographic survey of county drainage channels. Just to recap, Engineer's Office has completed their survey of the ownership of this area, done a lot of research and along with Chrissy on this. And so, Judge, I think you had a recommendation just to
Yeah.
pull this with no action at this time.
Yeah, and we've got the work done on it, and so there are gonna be, I anticipate discussions of multiple issues with the city, which this would be part of that. And so, Zane, appreciate all the work y'all have done and got it all ready, and we'll see if we can sell it to somebody. And so with that, I'd say pull with no action.
Okay.
All right?
F2 is authorization of quote with CDWG for beam backup and recovery solution licensing renewal and expansion. John?
Good morning.
Morning.
This one's just a renewal of our backup and recovery utility called Veeam. The total cost here is $29,029.66. There's an addition of $6,964.24 due to the increased amount of data we have. It has been reviewed and is recommended for approval.
Any questions?
So additional data creates additional licensing?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, I have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion? Yeah.
Budgeted, correct?
Yes.
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 Okay, I see. Sorry about
All
that.
right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those pass.
F3 is authorization to manage engine product price quote from Zoho Corporation for platform to monitor and optimize end-user equipment expansion for information technology. John?
Yes, this is excuse me, this is the addition of mobile device management, tablets, phones and such. We're switching from SODI over to our Zoho or Manage Engine. The cost here is $13,257 for the year. But this is down from our SODI, which was $23,751, so it saved us a little over $10,000 a year. This has been reviewed and is recommended for approval.
All right, and this was included in the FY '25 budget. Any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Pass.
F4, authorization of quote from Emergency Power Services for relocation of Heart of Texas Tower site generator. This quote totals $2,750, and it's to relocate this generator from the radio tower site to the Cobb's Drive location for storage. This is a low-hour, very high-quality generator, so visiting with Captain Nixon and others, it just makes sense to hold on to it and repurpose it at some point in the future for another county purpose.
All right. Any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
F5 is authorization of renewal for RFP 12-014, electronic monitoring services with Recovery Monitoring Solutions. Ken and I have visited with Judge Vick, and he had some suggestions. We're actually meeting with the Director of Recovery later this week, so we would request this be deferred, and we'll bring it back next session.
I'll make a motion to defer.
Second.
Have a motion and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
Item G, contracts and interlocal agreements. G1 is authorization of contracts for fire protection services with county volunteer fire departments and the McLennan County Fire Protection Association. All right, these are ready to move forward this week. Just as a reminder, these are for the fire protection services with the VFDs. It's $7,500 per department plus an additional amount per square mile of coverage they provide in the unincorporated areas. And it also has funds available for the Fire Protection Association to help with training, communications, and other assistance. And so the funds are included in the FY25 budget, and it's recommended for approval.
Any questions? If not, what's the pleasure of the court?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
G2, authorizations of health services agreement amendment with Turnkey Health Clinics for medical and health services for McLennan County jails and detention centers. I'd like to call on Major Ives.
How are y'all this morning?
Good morning. Good.
This is a contract with Turnkey. It is an update that was presented in our FY25 budget. This is going to include the 1.7% increase that we had presented during budget time to the court, and we would just ask that y'all ratify it. It is exactly the same as what we presented.
Okay. Any questions? All right. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
G3 is authorization of service order agreement with HOV Services for scanning of criminal district attorney felony records, and I believe this needs to be deferred.
All right. I'll make a motion to defer.
Second.
Have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Pass.
G4 is authorization of order form subscription with Thompson Reuters for West Proflex legal reference materials for the 414th District Court, and this totals $425.07 per month and is recommended for approval.
I'll make a motion we approve.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
G5 is authorization of agreement and related business associate agreement with Correctional Dental Services for dental services for inmates and detainees. Major Ives?
This is an agreement with Correctional Dental Services, PLLC, and we have had issues in a backlog with our current provider being able to get to all the folks that we have for the dental needs in the jail. And this is a contract that we're entering into to try to remedy that situation so we can get rid of the backlog, get these people service, get some continuity of care for them. This has been ongoing for a while. We've been talking to Dustin and Ken about this contract, and we just need this to catch up and look at future services, but it should not have a budget impact on our budget for the FY25 year.
All right. Any questions?
Total is $132,000 a year. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. So instead of getting charged, this provider is charging us by day of labor. The other one is doing it by service provided. They can show up and do one thing or two things. This guy shows up and he's going to do an entire day's worth of work. Whenever we have a certain amount of work for him to do, we call him, he shows up, and he does that full 8 hours worth of labor for us.
Excellent, okay. Move to approve.
All right, I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
G6, authorization of service agreement with CTWP. G6A is regarding human resources copier, and it totals $2,640 a year for the service agreement. G6B is regarding a Highway 6 copier, and it service agreement totaling $5,000 a year. And both are recommended for approval.
All right, I'll make a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
G7 is authorization of lease agreement with Pitney Bowes for mailing machine for the tax office. This is a lease agreement totaling $495.83 a month for a mailing machine for the tax office, and the term of the lease is 5 years.
Okay, any questions?
Will there be a service agreement with this one? Or is because it's a lease, it's included?
That's a good, I believe it is included.
Yeah.
Okay. I just figured because it was a lease, it probably had it
It
included.
should be.
Yeah, I bet it does.
All right. Motion to approve G7.
Second.
All right, I have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
G8 regarding the second professional consulting contract addendums with Lockwood, Andrews, and Noonan, and authorization of professional service invoice. This is for the McLennan County Water Planning. This is for the month of October, and it totals $2,750. It's been reviewed and recommended for approval.
All right, any questions? I move we approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. I might say that we have really utilized them a lot, monitoring these contracts with the water systems to be sure we get them in. They meet these, help us meet deadlines, and so they've done a good job with Tom and Haley in his office. Okay, G9.
G9 is authorization of agreement proposal with M. Evans Consulting for emergency action plans update for Tawakona Creek dams, Castleman Creek dams, Cow Bayou dams, and Mahoney Lake Dam. Zane?
Thank you, Dustin. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
So this is a update of the emergency action plans for all of the dams in McLennan County. And Michelle Evans has provided a quote in the amount of $69,300 to perform this work. This work also includes a breach analysis for 2 dams that did not have previously a breach analysis completed. And that's in the Cow Bayou watershed, Cow Bayou Dam number 8 and Dam number 28. Her invoice has been, or excuse me, her quote has been reviewed and it's recommended for approval.
Okay, any questions?
Is there not is this the same one we've used in the past, or is there not like somebody local that could?
This is the same one we used in 2013, yes.
Okay. Are they going to charge us for travel?
No, this includes everything they need to do the work.
Okay. That's fine.
Where's the money located? Where do we pay, what is this paid out of?
So, I mean, it would come out of general fund.
Comes out of general?
And we would probably take this out of, probably take it out of countywide road and bridge.
Okay. And we don't get any state reimbursement for any of this work?
I don't think so.
Or federal?
Or federal money or anything?
No, this is
I know of.
required by TCEQ.
Thank you all. And
All these-
they don't reimburse us. They require it and don't reimburse us.
Well, yeah, and that's that's how these were all, flood controls were created back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and they provided the federal money to build them, and then they turned over
They said here.
maintenance to the counties, and so some of our areas have taxing authority,
Yeah.
which help, but others, I think Cow Bayou does not have taxing authority.
Correct.
And so it's a mix of all that. One way or the other, taxpayers.
Yeah, burden falls on the counties.
Yeah, got you, yeah.
Motion to approve G9.
All right, I'll second.
Second.
Any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
G10 is authorization of agreements for services with Millard Real Estate Advisors. We have 2 here. G10As regarding real estate consulting right-of-way acquisition services for Fern Valley Road Project. And G10B is those same services for Patton Branch Road project. Zane?
Yes, sir. So we had two creek crossings that need to be repaired, one on Fern Valley Road, one on Patton Branch Road. Fern Valley Road is in Precinct 4, Patton Branch Road is in Precinct 3. Both of these agreement or contracts are from the Millard Real Estate Advisors Incorporated, which we've used in the past successfully to help us negotiate right-of-way acquisition. There's 2 parcels on Fern Valley Road, and there are 3 parcels on Patton Branch Road that need to be acquired for new proposed creek crossings. Millard Real Estate Advisors contract proposal have been reviewed and it's recommended for approval.
Okay, any questions?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion, second, any discussion? No discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, pass.
G11 is authorization of agreement for engineering services with BGE for South Old Bruceville Road at tributary to Prather Creek Culvert Replacement Project. Zane?
Thank you. So previously, the court has approved a proposal for this engineering services on South Old Bruceville Road, creek crossing in Precinct 1. This is the actual agreement, contract agreement with BGE. So it's got all the particulars in the contract language. Same price, nothing's changed. Y'all have already approved the price. This is just for recordation purposes, and it's recommended for approval or recording.
All right, any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion, second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Zane.
G12, authorization of contract proposal with Level 1 Technology for door security for information technology. John?
Yeah, so this is for our physical door security. KHT, which was our vendor, went out of business, so we had to get another vendor. This is the quote for our Level 1 technology. The total here is $8,358.20 to do the work and for the annual software license. And this is included in the FY25 budget.
Any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made, second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass.
All right, moving on to item H, capital improvement and construction projects. H1's regarding McLennan County Downtown Jail remodel for courtrooms and office space, agreement with Brinkley Sergeant Wigington, authorization of invoice number 24. This invoice totals $235,920.94. It has been reviewed and recommended for approval.
Motion to approve the invoice.
Second.
All right, I have a motion, second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass.
H2 is regarding hail damage roof repairs, quote from Clark Roofing. We have 2 here. H2A is authorization of application for payment number 1 for maintenance of buildings, purchasing building roof repairs. This totals $104,399.78. And H2B is authorization of application for payment number 3 for juvenile detention building roof repairs. It totals $125,547.03, and both have been reviewed and are recommended for approval.
All right, any questions? Not, what's the pleasure of the court?
Motion to approve H2A, H2B.
Second.
All right, I have a motion, second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass.
H3 is regarding the Justice of the Peace Precinct 5 Office Edition fee proposal from CP&Y, doing business as STV, authorization of professional service invoice for September. Invoice number 2, this invoice totals $10,170. It covers topographic survey, preliminary design, part of the final design work, and balance remaining on this project is $54,444. It's recommended for approval.
All right, any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion, second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass.
H4 is regarding the Old Springfield Road Waterline Improvement Project, engineering services agreement with Walker Partners. This is an invoice for services through September. Zane?
Yes, sir. So this is invoice number 5 for the Old Springfield Road Waterline Extension up that same road. And it's in the amount of $2,665. The invoice has been reviewed and is recommended for approval.
All right, any questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion, second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
H5 is regarding the East Rainer Road low water crossing improvements, construction agreement with WR Utilities and Excavation, ratification of invoice number 3, final. Zane?
This is a ratification of previous payment of invoice number 3, which is the final invoice of this project. And since we're using ARPA money for these low water crossing projects, this invoice is requested to be recorded for recordation purposes, recommended for recordation.
All right, any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item I, budget amendments. I1 is regarding the FY24 budget. Francis?
Yeah, so starting under I1, and like Dustin said, for 2024, so I1A is General Fund, Constable Precinct 2, requesting to move within their department into postage and shipping for remaining cost for last fiscal year.
Everything okay?
I1B, this is Fund 170, which is the Law Library Fund, specifically for 74th District Court. Just a budget amendment requested to move from contingencies in that special revenue fund into legal reference materials for a purchase made in the past fiscal year. I1C, this is General Fund Human Resources. The request is to move within that department into other services and charges for the attached Sterling invoice for the month of September. I1D, this is General Fund Jury Service Department. Request to move within that department into postage and shipping for remaining costs for the last fiscal year. I1E, this is General Fund Tax Office, ad valorem side of the office. The request is to move within that department into other services and charges for remaining cost in the past fiscal year. I1F, this is General Fund Road and Bridge Precinct 2, just requesting to move within that department to close out the other services and charges and utilities line for remaining invoices for the past fiscal year. I1G, this is General Fund Sheriff's Office. So this budget amendment touches the 4 different departments: Sheriff, Jail Medical, and Jack Harwell Medical. And it is to move within all of those departments to accommodate the final cost for last fiscal year. So those include fuel, other services and charges, outsourced transport, and medical services. And that covers the 2024 budget amendments, I1A through I1G.
Any questions on any of those?
And all these are costs that are incurred prior to the end of the budget year, but
Yes.
the invoices did not come in time to pay at the last court meeting at the end of the budget year.
Correct. And
Okay.
we'll still accrue back invoices through the end of this month.
Will we still? get more?
Yes, so there's a 60-day accrual period.
60
that
day
we accrue
accrual,
back.
okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
And we match the period with the expenditure when it was incurred.
okay. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Motion to approve I1A through I1G, Judge.
Okay, any, is there a second?
Second.
Motion made second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Pass. Thank you.
And then, I know we've already covered I1H, so
Yes.
moving to I2, so I2A1, this is General Fund Capital Outlay. So this is an item that was already approved in the 2025 budget, but the cost of the expenditure did not include what was being taken off for a trade-in. So the expenditure needs to be the full cost. So we're just increasing it by that amount. Of course, because it's a trade-in, there'll be a corresponding revenue that is booked as well, but needing to clean up that line for that amount.
Okay,
I2A2, this is also in General Fund Capital Outlay. There was a Gravely mower that you approved in the 2025 budget. The cost just came $165 higher than expected. So again, just cleaning up that line and having you approve that increased cost. I2B, this is General Fund Countywide Road and Bridge. We had money budgeted in the infrastructure bridges line. And so we are just moving that to a subline with a project specific for Fern Valley Low Water Crossing. I2C, this is for general fund and for the Justice Court Support Fund. And so these are costs that that we attribute to the increased cost for the EDOT contracts for this next year. We didn't expect that increase, of course, to be as high as it was. So we need to increase the budget. And you'll see there that about half and half from general fund, and then half is being able to come from the Justice Court Support Fund. I2D, this is Fund 10, the Records Management Fund. The request is to move from the contingencies in that special revenue fund into furniture and equipment, and that is to cover furniture for the offices at Records Management or Archives. I2E, this is in Fund 419, a bond, one of the bond funds, or bonds, the 2029 bond issuance. And this is to move from contingencies to lines specific for the HVAC work that is being done. This is specifically for the consulting and engineering cost. And so we've spread those to the lines that it needs to be matched to. And then I2F.
So that just about closes that bond out, correct?
For 2019.
If
Yes, sir.
I'm looking at if that's correct is that the correct way to read that?
Yes, you'll see that the 266,000 there in
Was-
contingencies.
Yeah.
And so we still, I can pull it up to double check, but we still may have budget sitting in allocated lines already that
Right.
we're waiting to spend. But yes, you are absolutely correct there.
Okay.
And the contingencies lines, we tried to make real clear that that is the remaining unallocated funds in each of those. And then I2F, this is general fund JP12, just requesting to move from supplies to furniture and equipment. And you did approve furniture in the 2025 budget for that department, but there was an increased cost not anticipated. So they're accommodating that increase there within their department. And that concludes the budget amendments for 2025. I2A through I2F.
Okay. All right, any questions on any of those that hadn't been asked?
I noticed I2F, you said it was approved during the budget session for that furniture. Was that also the case in I2D? Was that furniture request made during budget session, or is that an after-the-fact furniture and equipment request?
So the one on I2D, they are renovating, and I know John Carter or TJ might have some other comments about that, but they were renovating those offices at Archives. We did not have the furniture budgeted at the time the budget was adopted. But I know, I think the intent was always there that they would need that at some point in time, just not knowing when that would occur. But that is in that special revenue fund, so.
My comment would be, I would really like to see that come in during budget session, so we have an idea of it, and not get having to make budget adjustments during the year. That's just my comment.
I guess they just didn't know, right? I mean, that was
I'm trying to remember.
Actually, this is John Carter. So originally, we had planned to buy all of this from Amazon piece by piece, so we wouldn't need a budget amendment. But then it turns out that the maintenance didn't have the capability to put it all together because it was quite a bit of furniture. So that's why we went with Total Office Solutions. And then we had to do a budget amendment because it was enlarged.
okay. Any other questions? All right. What's the pleasure of the court on I2A through I2F?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion second. Any other discussion? No discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
I2G is McLennan County 911 Emergency Assistance District recording a FY25 adopted budget. The budget is included in your packet, and this is just a requirement under the Health and Safety Code that they submit its adopted budget for review to the governing bodies within the boundary. So just need a motion to accept this for recording.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion second. Any other discussion? No discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
For item J, real estate right-of-way, J1 is authorization of an MOU with Peter Ellis for sale and purchase of real property. I'd like to call on Zane.
Thank you, Dustin. This is a memorandum of agreement with Peter Ellis to purchase 0.379 acres of land, which is right-of-way off of Valley Mills Road in the city limits of Waco, for the amount of $12,828.80. This has been a long-going effort for Mr. Ellis to purchase this land. TxDOT has signed off on it. Legal has signed off on it. And they have paid all the fees necessary to make this transaction possible. And so they have provided us a cashier's check. We've received it. And so with the court's approval, the county will sell 0.379 acres, which is essentially land that backs up to his property off of Valley Mills Road in Precinct 3. And it's recommended for approval.
And you say legal signed, our legal?
Yes, sir.
Our legal, okay.
And legal will be preparing a deed if presuming court approves.
Yeah.
Is this a piece that we just had a lien on, or is this actual county
Do you know
property?
how we ended up with it?
Yeah.
So this is Valley Mills Road, used to go all the way to Valley Mills before the lake, I guess, was created.
Right, yep.
So at that time, TxDOT or the county.
That was state highway back then, right?
So it's still State Loop 396. It was State Highway 67, then turned into State Highway 6.
Oh, okay.
And now they've renamed it State Loop 396. And it's still right-of-way that's owned by the county, but it was correct, putting the loop 340 around and making that State Highway 6. It's just leftover right-of-way, and he plans to increase his family and needs more space for family activities. And so he's bringing his land straight back to Valley Mills, and the property lines will not cross any other adjacent property lines, what I mean by straight back.
Okay, well, there's all sort of issues with that property and escarpment and things
Exactly,
like that.
yeah.
So I don't know that it can be built on. I was really surprised that it came in at $10,000 for a third of an acre. That really kind of, I'm surprised by that, honestly. So, I mean, if Peter's okay with it, I know Peter, and if all of our, if you're okay with it, if our legal's okay with it, then that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
It gets it on the tax rolls.
Get you off the tax roll.
Yeah.
So by selling this, we grow the population.
That's one way to look at it.
And it'll put it back on the tax roll like you're
I think
talking about.
that's,
Yeah.
yeah, it's on the tax rolls for us.
That's correct.
Okay. Okey-doke.
Motion to approve the MOA.
Second,
All right, motion second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to item K, grant proposals. K1 is our ARPA discussion. K1A is regarding the professional services agreement with BKD. Orvis Mazars, authorization of grant management service invoice through September. This invoice totals $3,136.41, and it's been reviewed and is recommended for approval.
Okay, any questions or comments? All right, what's the pleasure of the court?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Motion second, any other discussion? No discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
K1B is regarding the professional consulting contract with LAN. This is authorization of professional service invoice. This totals $18,400.86, and it's for their services on the project identification and monitoring through October 11th, 2024. I do just want to point out that we will need to bring another one of these work orders or whatever we called it for LAN to authorize more funds for this purpose, but that was anticipated. But this has been reviewed and recommended for approval.
All right, any questions? I'll make a motion we approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? pass.
Under item L, Department Office Specific Request, L1's Heart of Texas Fairgrounds Extraco Event Center, authorization of invoice quote reimbursement. L1A is regarding invoice from Brazos Media Technologies for sound system control panel. This totals $3,750. L1B is regarding quote from Brazos Media Technologies for amp reset and reprogramming. It totals $9,500 for resetting and reprogramming the amp. These, the control panel failed during the fair and then caused issues with the amp necessitating both of these. So West has requested approval of these invoices. The fair's already paid them. They're requesting to be reimbursed from venue funds for both of those invoices.
Okay, any questions? All right, and they meet the criteria to be paid for by the venue.
Yes, and they are in.
So there was no warranty?
I believe we're probably already past that warranty period. I'll double check with Kevin and then also with Wes, but I think we're already beyond that period.
Okay,
Yep. Motion to approve.
all right, have a motion, I'll second. Any other discussion? No discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Pass.
L2, Road and Bridge Precinct 3, authorization of equipment trade-in request. Commissioner Jones?
So we're in the need of a backhoe that was budgeted and proper, all the paperwork, and we're going to get $20,000 trade-in, and this is just to ratify that $20,000. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. We just need a motion.
Yeah.
And approving disposing of that
Yeah,
equipment.
so that everybody knows.
Okay,
Motion to approve the trade-in request.
Second.
all right, motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
L3, Specialty Court, authorization of order accepting donations. The donations are listed in your packet. They total items valued at approximately $494, and just need a motion to accept those donations for Specialty Court.
So move.
Second.
Have motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
Under item M, additional items, M1 is authorizations regarding the McLennan County Christmas event, including approval of orders for acceptance of donations and other matters. I know we have approval of order of the following donations listed in your packet, the 2 fundraising events, and then also donations from a variety of businesses. So just need a motion to accept and approve those donations.
So move.
Second.
Second.
Motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
M2 is regarding the Texas Association of Counties Risk Management Pool, liability coverage renewal, recording of coverage document changes. And so TAC has sent out updates to its public officials liability, general liability, auto liability, and auto physical damage. And we just wanted to record these in the minutes to kind of preserve that record of those changes.
All right, any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
M3 is regarding the Local Provider Participation Fund, authorization of intergovernmental transfers of funds. This is under the Comprehensive Hospital Increase Reimbursement Program, the CHIRP program. This settlement date is on Monday, November the 18th, and we just need a motion to approve up to the balance in the LPPF, the account on the day of the IGT.
Motion to approve up to the balance in the LPPF, the account on the day of the IGT.
Second.
All right, have motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Pass.
M4 is authorization of resolution and order number 2021-001 to reappoint directors for places 1, 3, and 5 of the Southern Trinity Groundwater Conservation District Board of Directors. And they are requesting the reappointment of the following directors: Gary Brandon Chatham for place 1, Peter Colgan for place 3, and Mark Scott for place 5. And those appointments will expire on December 31st, 2028.
All right, any questions? If not, I'll make a motion, we approve.
Second.
Motion made second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
M5 is authorization of order approving conveyance of K9. Major items?
We're requesting that the court allow us to retire and convey that canine to their former handler, Jonathan Newman. The canine has some medical issues, and the cost of retraining is almost the cost of replacing, and that's a huge gamble for us to take. It doesn't make sense for us to do it. So we would like to retire that canine to its handler.
Okay,
Motion to approve conveyance.
Second.
motion is made, and second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass.
M6 is discussion and or action regarding use of county property, including authorization of use agreement with Bikers Against Child Abuse, Waco chapter. This would be for the Bacchus Heroes Weekend ceremony. So this group's sole purpose is a sport of abused children. They have requested to either use the courthouse lawn or the parking lot or records building parking lot on April the 26th, 2025 for this Heroes Weekend ceremony. Our recommendation, of course, is not to use the courthouse lawn and to use the records building parking lot. The farmer's market is supposed to relocate at the end of March, but just due to that timing and if that were not to happen. So our recommendation would be use the records building parking lot. We've drafted a use agreement to go along with this. So it's totally up to the commissioner's court, but if allowable, they could utilize the records building parking lot on Saturday, April 26th for those hours specified in the agreement.
Have we done this, haven't we done this before?
I know we've done a proclamation or resolution for them, but I don't know if we've actually dedicated a parking lot or a space for them, Judge. Typically, people can use the courthouse steps as long as they're not blocking the sidewalk or things like that, but they're anticipating a pretty large crowd, it seems like, so they wanted a dedicated space.
I remember the proclamation. We've done proclamation.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem. I think it's probably a good organization and they serve a good purpose here. So.
Make a motion to approve.
Yeah, the records building, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Building parking.
Yes.
I would second that motion to use.
All right, have a motion second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass.
Under item N, Americans with Disabilities Compliance Project. N1 is authorization of professional services invoices with STV. N1A is regarding ADA study report for August. This invoice totals $254.25. N1B is regarding their study report for September, totaling $401.25. And N1C is the records, regarding the records building ADU renovations project. It totals $302.50, and all have been reviewed and recommended for approval.
All right, any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second. Okay.
Motion made and second, any discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass.
All right, moving down to the supplemental agenda again. B3 is discussion and or action regarding the Commissioners Court retreat meeting. I know Reagan passed out some updated possible retreat topics, and Judge, you want me to kind of step through these or?
Yeah, briefly,
Commissioners, Andy, you wanna-
you know, we'll have to manage our time. This is a long list, but, you know, there's, as we go through it, we can, as we see how the time goes, we may defer some discussions and concentrate on what we perceive as the most important ones, but, yeah, just briefly go over it.
Okay, so some proposed topics, just under road and bridge. Would discussion on training schedules, equipment purchase sharing, bridge crew, performance reviews. Also discussion on shifts, 410s versus 5/8s. And then also talk about a separate retreat for road and bridge with foreman, commissioner, and county judge, talk about challenges along and have HR, purchasing, et cetera, along there at that separate retreat. We'd have space group updates on the Judicial Center project, 1211 Washington, 405 Columbus, then also a discussion on naming of county facilities. Discussion with the auditor on budget recap, travel policy, budget amendment policy, capital asset policy, and then also discussion on City of Waco funding, talking about the animal shelter, library, health district, et cetera. Discussion on the timekeeping system as well. and then hear from HR on the amendment to McLennan County Employee Policy Plan on the performance pay plan proposal, update on the pay grade structure, update on SO step pay. And then next item was a discussion on purchasing MOB and auditor just to keep projects rolling. That's going to be rolled into the budget amendment policy discussion by the auditor. And then also discussion on economic development expansion opportunities in the county. And then discussion on the roads that interconnect, county roads that interconnect between the city of Hallsburg and Trading House Lake.
That's a lot.
Yes, sir.
Will the winner of tonight's or today's election
Will be there.
be invited?
Yes, sir.
I know they may not be technically in office.
Well, actually,
Or-
so when can they be in office, since there's no one sitting in that
Talking about
seat?
that, yeah.
Since it's vacant, it will be after, when the certificate of election is issued, which happens after the election is canvassed.
Canvassed.
So, pretty quick.
Yeah.
And what's our canvassing requirement, 3 to 14 days after the 13th? Is that, I mean, the 13th is the deadline for getting mail-ins, ballots?
I
in?
think that's right, Commissioner.
And we have from 3 to 14 days. So our meeting, our next regular meeting is the 19th. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And that would hit right on that 14th date, right, for certifying the election results?
I believe I'm looking to see if I have anything on it. That all sounds right, Commissioner. I can confirm everything with Jared and we can let y'all know the exact timing, but.
Yeah.
But sometimes we do, it depends on
Sometimes
when
we
the
do
ballot
it
board
early.
meets.
Sometimes we
do it early, and I didn't know if we were gonna have to have an early meeting or not.
And you don't even have to have a quorum to.
Yeah, it's just two required.
Just,
That's right.
Right.
Say it's okay.
Okay. So we'll take all that in consideration. If something would cause us to need to do it quicker, then we'll
We have to,
communicate.
yeah, get together.
Yeah, do it. Get it out of the way.
Yep.
And, so. All right, anything else, Dustin?
No, sir. Just a reminder, no action will be taken on any of those retreat items. It's just purely no action will be taken on any of those items, but we will get that agenda posted this week. And I believe that's everything else on the agenda, Judge.
That's everything.
Okay. All right, if there's nothing else coming before the court, we stand adjourned.